Welcome to Adu Globe. Discover new ideas, learn exciting things, and be amazed every day. In the greatest wars of history, one question always echoes: who will stand by your side, and who will leave you alone? Today, Ukraine faces that very question. Surrounded by Russia's powerful army and relentless attacks, it seems cornered, but now, a new twist appears on the horizon. The United States has made it clear: no American boots will step onto Ukrainian soil. Yet, a spark has caught the world's attention: air support. Yes, the shadow of American power in the skies, protection for Ukraine, and a nightmare for Russia. But here's the real question: will this support truly save Ukraine? Or will it push the world toward an even greater war? Friends, in this video we won't just deliver the news, we'll tell the story as if two friends, America and Ukraine, stand together in a moment of crisis. Stay with us until the end, because what you're about to discover may shake everything you thought you knew. When we look at the world map, certain stories remind us of strength, alliances, and challenges. One such story is the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia, a story that has drawn global attention for many years and continues to shape international politics. To understand it properly, we need to go back a little in time. In 2014, the first major turning point arrived with the Crimea crisis. For the first time, the world saw this region come under the spotlight with such intensity. From that moment, tensions between Ukraine and Russia escalated further. Although many attempts were made to ease the situation, reality on the ground kept pushing things in the opposite direction. Then came 2022, when a large-scale invasion shocked the world once again. Since then, Ukraine has been at the center of headlines, with millions of people affected and the conflict becoming one of the key issues in global politics. That is the historical background, but if we turn it into a story, the picture looks different. Imagine Ukraine as a friend who is going through tough times. This friend keeps calling out for help, struggling against new challenges every single day, yet still showing resilience to the world. Ukraine is not giving up, but even the strongest friends sometimes need support when the pressure becomes too great. Now, imagine the United States as the other friend in this story. The US has been watching closely from a distance, analyzing the situation, carefully considering when and how to step in. America knows that any decision here is not just about one country, but about the balance of the entire world. That's why the US did not immediately send troops on the ground. Instead, it observed, discussed, and stayed part of the global debate. But as the situation has become more complex, the US is now thinking more seriously about moving forward with greater support. Here's where the story becomes more interesting. Support does not always mean direct action or sudden change in everything. The real question is, what form will this support take, and what impact will it have? Some believe the US will continue with political and economic aid. Others believe Washington is now considering the idea of providing air support, something that could act like a protective shield over Ukraine's skies, helping it stand strong in the face of challenges. But the story doesn't end here. The eyes of the world are fixed on this unfolding chapter. Some nations view this as a positive step toward balance and protection, while others urge caution, warning about long-term consequences. Still, one thing is certain: this is no longer just a story between Ukraine and Russia. It has become a global narrative, a story in which every decision could influence the future of international stability. As time passes, the question only grows louder: will this friendship between the US and Ukraine bring new hope, or will it test the world with an even greater challenge? This background and beginning lead us into the next phase of the story, the phase where decisions, alliances, and possibilities for the future all collide. When we look at the present situation, one major piece of news has captured global attention. In simple words, the United States has officially stated that it will not send ground troops to Ukraine. This means America will not directly put its soldiers on the battlefield. However, on the other hand, there is a new development. Washington is considering providing air support to Ukraine. This is not just a rumor. Reliable international outlets such as Reuters, The Wall Street Journal, and The Guardian have reported on this issue. According to these reports, policymakers and defense experts are actively discussing whether Ukraine should be supported not by boots on the ground, but by offering a protective shield from the skies. To understand this creatively, imagine it like a story. Ukraine is a friend standing firmly on the ground, fighting with all its strength, but carrying a heavy burden. It feels the weight of the struggle and knows it might not be able to fight alone forever. At this point, the other friend, America, steps in. Instead of entering the battlefield, the US decides to watch from above and provide a protective shield. It's as if the friend on the ground now has a guardian in the skies, giving strength and encouragement. This decision is not only important for Ukraine but also has global significance. Some experts believe that such air support could boost Ukraine's confidence and shift the balance of the conflict. Others caution that it might also bring new complications. But one thing is certain. This is not just the story of two countries, it is a global matter that the whole world is watching. Now, everyone is waiting to see if the United States truly turns this idea of air support into reality, and if it does, what kind of far-reaching impact it will have. When we talk about air support, it doesn't only mean sending fighter jets into the sky. In reality, air support is a broad concept that includes several key elements. Fighter jets. These are aircraft used to block or weaken enemy attacks. Drones. In modern warfare, drones play an essential role. They can collect intelligence, provide surveillance, and sometimes carry out precision strikes. Intelligence sharing. A major part of air support is providing information. If a friend tells you where the enemy is hiding or which direction an attack might come from, that is also a form of support. Air defense systems. These are systems that intercept and destroy incoming missiles or drones before they can reach their targets. To explain this creatively, imagine standing in an open field while stones are being thrown at you from above. Suddenly, a friend comes and holds a large umbrella over you. The umbrella blocks the stones, giving you a chance to stand strong and continue. That umbrella is like air support. For Ukraine, such support is not just a military tool, it is also a source of morale. When soldiers on the ground know that a powerful shield is watching over them from the skies, their confidence grows. They feel that they are not alone, even if their ally is not physically fighting beside them. According to experts, if the United States does provide this kind of air support, the impact could be significant. On one hand, Ukraine would gain new strength and assurance. On the other hand, it would also send a global message that major allies are not ignoring their partners. Still, analysts also advise caution, reminding us that every major decision brings its own challenges. Overall, air support can be seen as a protective shadow, a safeguard that allows those fighting on the ground to carry on with renewed courage. Whenever outside support enters a conflict, it often creates both practical and psychological changes for the soldiers on the ground. If the United States truly provides air support, this could become a turning point for Ukraine in several important ways. The first benefit is the ability to counter drone attacks. In recent years, drones have changed the face of modern warfare, small, silent, and often destructive. With advanced air surveillance and technology, Ukraine could detect and neutralize such attacks before they cause major damage. The second benefit comes in the form of a stronger air defense system. When the skies are guarded by advanced defense technology, ground troops gain the freedom to focus on their tasks without constant fear of sudden aerial strikes. Imagine a unit of soldiers moving forward with the confidence that a powerful protective shield is covering them from above. That sense of security makes their mission much more achievable. The third and perhaps most powerful benefit is psychological. For Ukraine, this would be a message that it is not standing alone. Having a strong and influential ally by its side doesn't just bring weapons or technology, it brings morale and hope. It reminds the soldiers and civilians alike that major powers are still watching this conflict and are willing to step in with real support when needed. In a creative sense, you could picture Ukraine as a traveler walking a long and difficult road alone. Heavy rain and strong winds have made the journey even harder. But now, a friend arrives holding a large umbrella. That umbrella doesn't just shield the traveler from the storm, it sends the message that the journey will no longer have to be faced alone. In short, America's potential air support could bring Ukraine three major advantages: stopping enemy attacks, strengthening its defensive systems, and boosting the confidence of its troops. Together, these elements may give Ukraine a renewed sense of strength and determination in the battlefield. In every conflict, When a major power steps in, directly or indirectly, the other side always responds. If the US moves forward with providing air support to Ukraine, it is almost certain that Russia will react. Analysts and international reports highlight several possible outcomes. The first and most immediate response could be strong statements and warnings. Russia has repeatedly emphasized that any direct US or NATO involvement would be seen as a challenge to its position. So, if America increases its role in providing air defense or air support, Russia is likely to issue stern warnings and declare it unacceptable. Another possible reaction is increased pressure on the battlefield. This could come in the form of intensified attacks or new strategies aimed at showing Ukraine, and the world, that outside assistance will not easily change the situation. A third likely move is diplomatic maneuvering. Russia could reach out to other nations, seeking support, or push its narrative in international forums, claiming that Western involvement is escalating the conflict rather than resolving it. To put it creatively, imagine two people engaged in a struggle. Suddenly, a third person arrives and stands firmly beside one of them, offering support. Naturally, the opponent becomes more frustrated and says, "This is no longer just between us." That's similar to how Russia may feel if the US steps more directly into Ukraine's corner. In short, Russia's reaction could include strong warnings, more battlefield pressure, and wider diplomatic efforts. It won't be limited to a single dimension, but rather expressed in multiple ways. Global politics works like a web, where one nation's decision can shift the balance for everyone. When the United States considers providing air support to Ukraine, this isn't just about two countries, it sends a signal across the entire world. The first impact would likely be on NATO. Many European members of NATO are already supporting Ukraine, but if the US directly steps in with air assistance, it could put more pressure on other European countries to clarify and strengthen their own positions. For Europe, the stakes are very high. The region feels the war's impact the most, from energy shortages to economic pressures and refugee crises. In this context, America's role becomes even more critical for European policymakers, as their strategies will need to align with this new reality. On the other side, China is also closely observing the developments. China usually tries to maintain a balanced foreign policy, but a stronger US-Ukraine partnership may push it to rethink its global stance. While China might not directly intervene, its diplomatic moves and official statements could carry weight in shaping global perceptions. Beyond NATO, Europe, and China, the rest of the world is also watching. African nations, Middle Eastern countries, and Asian states all view this conflict through the lens of their own foreign policies. Some may feel aligning with the US and its allies is beneficial, while others may prefer to keep a neutral balance to protect their own interests. If we put it in a creative way, think of the world as a neighborhood. When two strong friends stand side by side, everyone else in the neighborhood has to adjust their own place. Some come closer, some step back, but no one can remain unchanged. Each player repositions themselves according to the new reality. When analyzing the decision that the United States may provide air support to Ukraine, there are clearly two sides to the story. On one hand, this move can be seen as a major boost for Ukraine. For years, Ukraine has been fighting to defend itself, and additional air support could provide both confidence and strength to its military. If Ukraine has a strong protective shield in the sky, its forces on the ground can fight with greater morale, improved strategies, and a sense that they are not standing alone. On the other hand, this step could also increase tensions with Russia. While Ukraine would feel supported, Russia might interpret this as a direct challenge. As a result, there could be an escalation not only on the battlefield but also in global politics. Russia's reaction may come in the form of strong statements or even practical measures, which could raise concerns for the wider international community. Creatively speaking, you can imagine it like this: two friends are standing together. One is already struggling in a fight, and the other steps in to help. The struggling friend feels stronger and more confident, but the opponent becomes more frustrated and angry. This is the kind of double-edged effect that may be seen on the global stage as well. In conclusion, the true impact of this decision will not appear immediately but will unfold over time. Some analysts argue that this move could help reduce the war's intensity by strengthening Ukraine's defense, while others believe it might escalate tensions further. The truth is, in international politics, No decision has a single outcome, it always carries multiple layers and consequences. This entire story is not just news, it's also a powerful example. We've seen how Ukraine continues to stand in defense of its land, and how the United States is considering standing beside it. This is more than just a political move, it's a reminder of what true friendship looks like in difficult times. If you think deeper, this isn't only about two nations. It's a message for the whole world. Just like in our daily lives, when someone faces hardship and a friend steps forward to help, it gives strength, courage, and even changes how others behave. The same truth reflects in international politics. Now the big question is, right finger, will this step help bring the war closer to an end? Right finger, or will it push the world toward a new crisis? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear, decisions like these always mark turning points in history. And finally, if you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, so more people can understand this issue and join the conversation with us.